Hello, friends. Hello, hello. Hello, friends. How are you today? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. My camera all cattywampus here. Hello, hello. It is a good day. 61 degrees and sunny here in beautiful Fall River, Massachusetts. Ah, glorious fall. This has been a gentle fall too. It's really not even brutal cold yet. It's been lovely. Second day of November. Hey, good morning, Donna. Hope you're well. Glad to see you this morning. Hope you're doing good. Karen, good morning to you. Hey, Jamie. Hello. Good morning, all. Good morning, friends. That is it, isn't it? How good is that? How lucky are we that we might come here to hang out together for a moment? Nobody's having more fun than us. Cecile, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. I know, love this weather. It is just truly perfection. Driving with Mr. B. Hey, Mr. B. Cheers. Joe Long, everybody. Now, Joe is here. Now I feel like I really have to bring some heat. All right. So, I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. All right. It's good to see you. Thank you for our conversation yesterday. It's a great help. Really appreciate it. Friends, welcome, welcome. Bonnie Braga from the pool in West Palm Beach. Somebody is winning. Great. So glad. I hope it's rich. I hope those grandbabies are great. I hope it's all wonderful down there. And um, I'm sure it's warmer, but this is a beautiful day. I'm loving it. All right, friends, it is the second day of November on this 11/11, and I'm glad you're here. I say it every day because I mean it every day. That I am glad that each one of you are a part of this. You're on this journey. You have stepped into this place with us. I want to unpack a piece of scripture today that I think we just don't get. Like I think that has been that thing like often happens with pieces of scripture, things get done to them and get done with them that invite us to kind of understand them in particular ways, and that not that those particular ways are necessarily wrong, but that they actually bring with them some baggage. And it's understandable to have happened, but sometimes there's power in just coming back at these things and looking at them again in a new way, and trying to, you know, uh, the the rabbis talk about scripture as being a diamond, and that one of the ways that we can understand that one of our jobs with scripture is to keep turning the diamond, to understand that there might be a brilliant and beautiful face which we see, but then we turn it and there's a whole nother facet and a whole nother brilliance and a whole nother beauty, like a ring with a beautiful setting of a diamond in it, that as we turn it, it changes in color and beauty and understanding and grace. So and that's an image. And so I want to try and turn the diamond a little bit on this piece of scripture that no doubt you've heard a piece of it before, but that we might come to it. So it's this: Jesus' instructions around the treasure, putting up treasures in heaven. So it's from Matthew 6. It's, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. I think one of the ways that we've come at this, or at least one of the things that's been done to this with the church over time, is this notion of like the pursuit of worldly things or the pursuit of worldly stuff is somehow corrupt or less than or not good or uh, the pursuit of the more base things of life. And and I'm not necessarily going to get into disputing that. Like we can certainly talk about, if you just go out to make money for money's sake, there's that's only going to take you so far on kind of the scale of kind of winning at life. It doesn't say anything about your relationships. It doesn't say anything about people you love. It doesn't say anything about the people that love you. It just says about the quality of the car in your driveway. And so that's a real thing. I'm not saying it's not a real thing, but what I think this text is telling us is actually, if we can kind of just take that and say, okay, that's real and we've been taught that, but just kind of set it over here for a second and then look at this in a new way and understand maybe there's a little bit more going on. Winston Churchill said, and what a more interesting guy than Churchill out there. I don't know. He is the king of Luther's phrase, we are simultaneously sinner and saint. And so I think his wisdom sometimes is more true because of that reality. And he said it this way. He said, we make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. And that's what I think this is beginning to point us towards, is to start our conversation with anything we encounter, whether it is our job or our the task that's before us, whether it is our family and the people that we love, whether it is our friendships, whether it's our avocation, whether it's learning an instrument, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. This is true in every quadrant and part of life. That the beginning place is to start from the idea of, what do we want to give here? What do I have to offer? What do I want to offer this place? Now, there are those of you out there right now, they're hearing that. It's like, okay, but I need to take care of me, and I need to look out for mine, and I need to not give myself away. And I've given myself away many times in life, and I'm not saying any of that's true. We need to be boundaried. We need to be right. We need to be on point with making sure that we're not just constantly emptying our cup and never getting anything back. That's not what I'm saying. Don't hear what I'm not saying. Thank you, Jeremy Wood. But there's a difference in this. There's a difference of when we start. It's not saying this is where we're going to stop, but it's where we're going to start. It's if we start with the idea of, what am I going to get out of this? What am I going to get out of this experience? What am I going to get out of this relationship with this person? What am I going to get out of my relationship to a church? What am I going to get out of my relationship with my wife or my spouse or my partner? What am I going to get out of my job that I take and the place that I put my life? What am I going to get out of my hobby? If we begin our conversation with this idea of what treasures are going to come to me by virtue of this, and we are only ever going to end up on the earthly scale, right? I'm going to have, I have a wife because I have somebody that will, hopefully say something nice to me in the morning and maybe occasionally bring me a coffee. That I'm going to get very basic things out of this. I'm going to have a job because I'm going to get a paycheck. I'm going to have relationships because I'm not going to be alone when I want to watch a ball game. That actually, when we start our conversation, when we start our frame of life from the place of what are we going to get out of this, all we're ever going to get is the earthly ideas. That's all we're ever going to get. All we're going to get is the most base and boilerplate stuff that doesn't last, that doesn't endure, that is that kind of sense of where moths and vermin destroy. But the question is, what happens if we turn that on top of that? What if we take that, all of those Jesus-y places where Jesus says that he, in his mysteriously Jesus-y way, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. What about that? What about this notion of saying, what am I going to bring to this? When we start the conversation from that place, when we start our idea, think about this. Just kind of role play this in your head for a second. What happens when you come to a place, when you come to a job, let's say, and say, every day you wake up and you say, what am I going to bring today? What am I bringing to the table today? What am I going to give? What am I going to offer this community, these my coworkers, the task that I have at hand? What am I going to give in here? When we start from that place, we immediately start talking and we start engaging on a heavenly level, on a level of spirit, on a level of emotion, of psyche, of understanding, of being, on eternal things, right? On things that that are true across time, no matter the time that we talk about them. Winston Churchill's been dead a long time, and yet we read his quote, and we can smell, we can sniff, we can feel in us the truth of it. That we can make a living by what we get, and that'll keep us alive in our material coil. But we make a life by what we give. And that's the place to start. And if you're confused, if you're not sure what you're doing in a place, if you're not sure, maybe you don't know what you're doing in your church, maybe you don't know what you're doing in your relationship, maybe you don't know what you're doing, for a hobby, maybe you don't know what you're doing with your children. Drop back and say, what am I here to give? What am I being called? What do I have? What am I going to give this thing? For me, it's the only thing. Not the only thing. That's too much. But it is one of my core senses of how I keep my sanity in being a church pastor. Like I'll tell you, this is very personal to me. This is why I wanted to kind of like talk about it, because I come back to this again and again and again. Because don't worry, that being, that being a pastor has all kinds of challenges. It has all kinds of things, but it is constantly this, like every relationship, I maybe just more so, but it's no different than any other relationship. But it's this constant balance of what are you going to give and what are you going to get? How are you going to survive? How are you going to get and what are you here? But for me, the most orienting question to come back to again and again and again is, what am I here to give? Because that takes me to my heart place. That takes me to the place of what really matters, takes me to the place of value, takes me to the place of understanding, takes me to where? To the heavenly realm. To the place where, to talk about eternal things rather than material things. And here's the thing, and here's the promise. That when we start from that place, when we start by storing up the eternal things, when we start by stacking up the things that we're going to give to the world, the abilities that we have, the love that we have, the joys that we have, that the treasures of the world follow them. That there's a way in which the things that and that doesn't mean that there's a direct relationship here. I'm not talking prosperity gospel, but I'm talking about the fact that when you know why you're doing a thing, and you know where you're doing a thing, and you know what's in it, it's so much easier to harvest the treasures, both earthly and heavenly, in their midst. With one, you end up, when you pursue one, you end up getting both. When you pursue the heavenly, you end up getting the earth thrown in. When you pursue the earth, you get neither. Pablo Picasso said that the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. Again, another rascally little guy that understood that solidly straddled the line of heaven and hell on any given day. But I think that there's wisdom in these guys that they know things that maybe even some of us don't. That there's a gift in you. You've been created with a gift. You might not even know what it is, and you probably don't. Quite honestly, you probably don't. The things that are most beautiful in us, we are born blind to, and it's why we fall into, I think, this trap of the treasures of the earth that trying to pursue that, because we're so close to our own diamond, we can't see it sparkle, and that doesn't make us bad people. That just makes us people. But at the heart of it, when we find a little glimmer of that brilliance, when we ask that question of what am I here to give? What's the treasure in heaven that I'm here to offer up? And what am I here to store up inside myself so that it can be a storehouse for all the people around me? Am I here to give wisdom? Am I here to give compassion? Am I here to give help? Am I here? What gift am I bringing? This day, this hour, this moment, this organization, this relationship, this task in my midst. Again and again and again, we're kind of cautioned about the pursuit of just the earthly stuff. Whether it's more money, more all that sort of stuff. And that thing is just, but that doesn't inherently make any of that stuff bad, wrong, not good, sinful. Inherently, what it makes it is subordinate to the earthly things, subordinate to the things of heaven. And that if we can, with our gaze, with our focus first on the gifts that we have to bring to anywhere that we are, the stream of our life will, instead of being muddy by all the agitation and all the agitation of the world, it will start to run clear. Instead of being filled with anxiety, it will start to be filled with confidence. Because we put the earthly things in their right place. Storing up treasures on earth, it's not a horrible thing. It doesn't make you a bad person. But if that's all you're doing, you really end up doing nothing. Stop thinking about what you want to get out of your marriage, out of your kids, out of your job, out of the tasks that you have before you, out of your church, out of the world around you, out of your political leaders, and start asking what you have to give, what you have to bring, what you have to offer, what you have in your brilliance and your little diamond to shine upon the world that nobody else can shine. That, friends, is the place of life and life eternal. That, friends, is the place of life in abundance, and that will magnify all the treasures of earth that we might or might not accumulate along the way. I really hope that you can maybe see this little, maybe well-worn passage that you've kind of stumbled across. Maybe you've heard many times before, or maybe you're brand new to it. But that this ancient kind of teaching, I hope maybe you can lift it up and see a little. We just turned the diamond a little for you today, and you can see that truly what it says when it says, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." See what you have to give in any given place, in any given moment, in any given relationship. And in the midst of it, understand that that's where your joy, that's where your light, that's where your love, and that's where the very salvation of the world lies. All right, friends, that's my hope for you today. Uh, Peace and grace to y'all. It's so great to see you this morning. John, glad you're here. Jane, glad you're here. Jamie, hello. Good to see you. All right, friends. Peace and grace to you. We'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.